I can't get the courage to leave my first relationship even though my girlfriend is toxic. How do I do this? So this is a long story with a lot to say, but I met this girl while I was initially recovering from the worst mental health episode of my entire life. To put into perspective, I stayed in my room daily for a year straight, would have panic attacks all the time, worried about my health, got health anxiety, obsession over things I didn't have, ended up getting agoraphobia, and after some time I went to therapy and I kept slowly inching in progression and was also diagnosed with OCD. I was on a dating app just for fun, and that's how I met my current girlfriend. It was rocky from the start. When we first started speaking, she tried ghosting me on 2 different occasions, but I reached out and got a hold of her, and she just spoke about how she's afraid of getting hurt or something, and in the state of mind that I was in back then, I had nothing going for me, and I still to this day don't necessarily have my shit together, so I fought my ass off for this woman. There was so many red flags that I just ignored. I started feeling good, and she was a motivator to getting my life back, because once I dropped out from high school I let myself go, gained weight, never got my license, it was all bad. I lost the weight, but where I'm at in life doesn't make me happy at all. The first time we saw each other was after we were talking for around a month or so, and we got intimate, and that's how I lost my virginity. I always wanted to wait for the right person, and I was afraid of being with women in the past. Right after we got done I went in the bathroom for a second just to process the moment, and when I got back she looked extremely sad on the couch and said, "Do you want me to leave?" It made me feel so bad that she said that, and I instantly hugged her, told her absolutely not. She seemed so afraid of getting hurt, and she was extremely sensitive about things, but it wasn't like that at first. At first she made me feel more confident. She's an attractive woman, no doubt, and she didn't judge me for the fact I was losing my hair and that I don't have my license, etc., and it was amazing. It's like she saw something in me that I didn't. And she made me feel very loved at first, came to drive 30 minutes just to see me every weekend, bought me food, etc. As time progressed more issues would happen. She'd start arguments, it felt like, and would threaten breaking up or say she wants to, and I'd freak out, tell her a bunch about how much I love her and how much she means to me, etc. It's like she never could accept my love, and I put so much effort into prove I wasn't going to cheat on her or hurt her. When she complained about something in the relationship I tried to fix it. I would open doors for her in public, carry her things, wrote her notes / drew things for her. I could go on and on, but I bent over backwards to show her how much I care for her. Things kept going like this, me bending over backwards making sure I didn't do anything to upset her, etc., out of fear of losing her. Then 3 to 4 months in, the first time I broke up with her was because she was trying to say she wants an open relationship, and her saying that fucked me up badly. We ended up seeing each other 2-3 days afterwards, and it felt like she just used me for my dick in that moment. She stayed the night, and then we talked the day after, and I saw her phone and she was already texting guys, and this was the first time I felt unworthy, and I asked why, and she said she didn't want to feel sad about losing me, and so I forgave her, and I cried in the car and just expressed how I wish she could trust me, and that I feel like she's only saying this thing about an open relationship because of this deep fear about getting hurt or not taken serious, because she told me how she was with someone for 2 years and that the person ended up cheating on her, and I felt like that's why she feels this way. I kept expressing my feelings, then eventually I got out the car and she was saying how she didn't want one and she just wants to be with me, and etc. She hasn't brought up this open relationship shit since then, but to keep things from being too long, fast forward now and it's about 6 months in, same type of stuff where I feel like I am putting my all into the relationship, and between this time small dumb shit has happened, but how the relationship was going it exaggerated my anxious attachment style, and I became overbearing with all this stuff, and I'd say she's an avoidant attachment style. I know for a fact I wasn't perfect in this relationship. I acknowledge I'm a hurt person too. I'm not saying she's the only person doing wrong, but so yeah, from everything that happened I became overbearing. What happened this time around was she was going to come see me, but she hung out with her mom first, and she said she wasn't gonna come until around 8. Well, at 7ish I was texting her and she silenced her notifications, and I flipped out. My reaction was bad and I'm embarrassed by it all, but I ended up getting a Uber to where she was, then spent the night with her and her mom. She was with her mom, and I know that because she FaceTimed me and showed me, but I was mad because it felt like she didn't want to see me and just was planning on ditching me. The day after we went back to where I lived and hung out, and I felt bad about the whole thing and just so embarrassed by my actions. When she got home I fell asleep and she called me, but I was asleep and she got upset about it, and then the next day she ignored me later in the night when I tried to call. Usually we would be on the phone together all the time for hours. I ended up finding out that night she felt let down and downloaded a dating app, her words, and it just resurfaced that feeling of feeling like an option. I told her I could forgive her even though in my mind I didn't really, but that was so immature and just disrespectful to me. She then was like, could you look past me having it? And I just was done at that point. She was talking about how she'd delete it later and she just feels unsure about everything because of how I've been becoming too much and how I'd spam call her and etc. And yeah, like I said, I did become that way, but I feel like her actions caused me to become this anxious about all of this, like as if my relationship with her could end any moment if I do some small thing to upset her. We continued to speak after I broke up with her and I couldn't help but feel her drifting away, and so it started getting to me badly, and I was just thinking about how I've been doing all this shit and I can't even feel loved back or taken serious, and anytime I bring it up she would say something like she feels like I am the one that can't take her serious because my actions of spam calling her and my overbearingness showed I didn't respect her or something. And so a few days after, and the fact I did this fucking eats at me, but I just was feeling terrible that night and I told her how I feel suicidal, and she got worried about it and was being loving and comforting, and it made me feel good to see her act that way. The next day I felt really guilty and sick about it, but I just was terrified of losing her. Well, after some time, the day after, she ghosted me for 4 to 5 days, and I think this was the true wake-up point about everything about what I put myself through and what I have inadvertently put her through. And in that time I thought back to see what I've become and how I've become insecure and confused and overbearing and etc. She kept me on all her social medias, didn't block my number or anything, but I didn't reach out, I gave it time. Finally I said something because I felt like it was time to, and we've been starting to talk again and we got back together, but I'm realizing the cycle I'm putting myself in and it's just like the same shit. Even when we got back into contact I still had to fight to prove myself, and I'm just now realizing how confusing and manipulative and disrespectful, and it just I mean, I don't know, my head's in such a weird space and racy, but I don't know how to feel or what to think, but I know I can't let this go on, but I'm having such a hard time letting go. But I have to end this or I'll never be happy. I'm sorry about this post being all over the place, but I don't know how to summarize 6 months of this well, and I'm just embarrassed by everything and couldn't bring this up to family, but I had to get this off my chest. Comment. First of all, I hope that you are in a better place with your mental health and are healing. I have had similar mental health struggles and they can be debilitating. This relationship sounds toxic and draining, and I'm concerned that it will only continue to negatively impact your mental health and prevent you from progressing. From what you said, I think you know that it is in your best interest to end the relationship with her. It is clear that she doesn't respect you or value you and your relationship by talking to other guys and downloading dating apps. All her comments about being scared of being hurt and afraid of losing you are excuses. If she was afraid to lose you, she wouldn't be reaching out to other men, as hard as that is to hear. It may feel incredibly difficult to let her go, especially since the two of you have been intimate and have been together for some time now. In the long run it will be the best decision for you and you will find peace with it. You're still very young and have plenty of time to find someone who will love you and put effort into having a healthy and happy relationship with you. Take this time to continue healing and working on your mental and physical health. Next story 2. Husband and I are staying at his parents for a health treatment and his father is driving us insane. My husband and I, married for 5 years, live in another city, but we are staying with my in-laws while he recovers from a surgery he came here for. My husband has never had a good relationship with his father, but it's been years since he left home and we usually don't stay with them when we visit. This is the first time we're this close to them. We've been here for 2 weeks so far, and at this point we're both convinced his father is a narcissist and addicted to drama. Everything has to be about him, and when it's not he starts offending us, picking up random fights. When we try to calm him down, he starts making up stories about how other people in the family resent us for things that only happened in his mind. He's really cruel to my husband and his mom. To give some examples, he knows my husband is under a very strict diet cause of the surgery, and he ordered my husband's favorite food the night before the surgery and kept pushing him to drink alcohol to improve anesthesia. He takes our medicines cause he self-diagnoses and says he also needs it. He says my BIL is mad at us cause we don't contact their father enough. He says my husband's hair looks ugly and makes fun of him and the way he looks constantly. He doesn't ever let my mill finish a sentence and keeps interrupting her. He bosses her around all day. It doesn't matter if she's busy, she has to stop whatever she's doing to serve him. He ignores what she asks him. He agrees on stuff and later complains about it and says he didn't agree with anything. He lies a lot. The 3 of us work from home, husband, me and Mill, and he interrupts our work and meetings whenever he wants attention. We have zero privacy. He's not as cruel to me as he is with them, though. He's way more subtle with me. When he wants to criticize something I do, he disguises his comments as curiosity, like, "Why do you always dress like that?" I'm trying to keep it cool cause my husband needs all the support he can get at this moment, but he's struggling. He's not talking, or laughing, or smiling like he usually does. He looks drained, exhausted. And I'm so angry with this situation. I feel powerless. He asked me if we could rent an Airbnb for the next few weeks until we're able to fly back home, but we both honestly lack the energy for the drama it would cause. His father will play the victim, fake a disease, he's done it before, contact the whole family to convince them to reach out to us. And his mom would suffer a lot. She told us the other day she's planning to divorce him. She would completely understand. But we know she's also struggling and we don't want to add to that cause she's the most amazing person and does not deserve any of it. How can we shield ourselves from the drama if we decide to leave his place? And how can we make this less painful for his mom? Is there a way of working around this kind of thing so we could stay at his place for a few weeks longer and avoid the drama?